Minister Amarveera's visit to Umayyad receives unwelcoming response from locals. Elections Commission Chairman stresses need for good leaders to be elected. The GMOA to launch indefinite island-wide strike on Wednesday. Minister Patali Ranavika responds to the Saitam issue. New vaccine for girls over 10 years of age.
Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Jitendra Gunasena. Let's start off with the local stories in detail. Minister Mahinda Amaraveera visited an area affected by the Umayyad multipurpose development project today to hold discussions with the locals regarding the issues which have arisen surrounding the project. The minister received an unpleasant welcome as a tense situation ensued with the locals.
Newsfirst on multiple locations reported of dried up springs and wells, damaged homes and several environmental issues which have been caused by the Umayyad multipurpose development project. Recently, a demonstration was also staged in the Bandarawela town, citing the environmental harm caused by the project. Following a discussion with the President, several decisions were arrived at concerning the project, while a ministerial committee was also appointed to report on the situation in the area. The three-member ministerial committee consists of Ministers Vijit Vijayamuni Zoisa, Patali Champika Ranavika and Mahinda Amaraveera. Minister Mahinda Amaraveera visited the construction site of the Karandagolla hydropower plant at the Umayyad project and the surrounding area today.
අපිට එතකොට ඒ තීන්දුව ජනාධිපතිතුමාට ගිහිල්ලා කියලා අපිට ගන්න පුඩ තේරෙනවා. මොකද මම හිතන්නේ මම ඒක දැන් මම හිතන්නේ මේක අපි ඉස්සර කියන්නේ අපි ජනතාව විදියට කියන්නේ මේක මෙතනින් නවත්තන්න. දැන් ජනතාව හරියට කියන දෙයට අහුම්කම් දෙන්න බැහැ. අපි කියන්නේ මේක මෙතනින් නවත්තන්න. ඔබග නවත්තන්න. මම මෙතනින් යන මගේ පෙබරවාරි පස්සේ සාකච්ඡාව හම්බුනේ. ඒක ඒකලත් ඔබතුමාලා නෑ අපිට ඔබතුමා තීන්දුව ඕනේ. අපි මේක දැන් තීන්දුවක් කරන් තියෙනවා. එහෙම බෑ මතුමා. එහෙම කරන්න එපා මතුමා. තීන්දුවක් අපිට ගන්න. මේ අවදානමය අපි ඉන්නේ. මේ මිනිස්සුගේ ප්‍රශ්නේ. මේ මිනිස්සුගේ ප්‍රශ්නේ. ඒක කරන්නේ අපිත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම
Other members of the committee, Ministers Vijit Vijayamuni Zoisa and Patali Champika Ranavika, did not take part in today's inspection tour. Minister Harin Fernando and UNP parliamentarian Chaminda Vijayasiri also did not take part in the discussion. Minister Vijit Vijayamuni Zoisa, however, did take part in the discussion held this afternoon.
According to the latest figures obtained from the health sector, 71,000 cases of dengue have been reported from across the island. A total of 226 people lost their lives owing to dengue during the past 6 months. 658 dengue patients are currently receiving in-house treatment at the Special Dengue Treatment Centre at the Colombo District Hospital.
As the menace of the dengue virus keeps rising, there has been a significant increase in the number of patients seeking treatment at the Colombo District Hospital. The hospital, which has a capacity of 591 patients, currently houses 928 patients, 658 who have contracted dengue. The services of the Tri-Forces have been deployed to assist the medical staff employed at the hospital. As many issues have arisen due to the lack of space to accommodate patients, a building adjacent to the hospital was added to the hospital on a prior occasion.
The inefficiency in the collection and disposal of garbage in the city of Colombo has caused severe inconvenience among the general public.
This morning, our cameras captured footage of mounds of garbage collected in several areas of Colombo. While the country is suffering a serious dengue epidemic, the inefficient management of garbage has turned the already crisis situation from bad to worse.
Colombo නිසි වෙලාවට එන්නේ කුණු ගෙනියන්න
මේ ආණ්ඩුව කරන්නේ මේ ජනතාවට කියන්නද මේ කුණු ටික කියලා කොයියර දාන්නයි කියලා ආණ්ඩුවටම දාන්න බැරි කුණු ජනතාව කොහොමද කියලා දාන්නේ
Residents of Maligawatta staged a demonstration today, alleging that there are attempts to dispose garbage once again at the waste recycling plant in Kirinivala, Maligawatta.
උසාවියකින් තීන්දුවක් දීලා තියෙනවා මේකට ගුණ ගේන්න ඕනේ දොම්පේ ජනනය වෙන කුණු පවණක් කියලා. නමුත් මේ උසාවි තීන්දුවටත් ගරහලා මේගොල්ලෝ උසාවියටත් අභියෝග කරමින් කොළඹ කුණු මේ වෙනකොට 35ක් විතර ලොරි මේ වෙනකොට ගෙනල්ලා තියෙනවා කුණු කිසිම වෙන් කිරීමකින් තොරව තමයි කුණු ගෙනල්ලා තියෙන්නේ.
Several state institutions are jointly responsible for the collection, disposal and management of waste collected from the city of Colombo on a daily basis. They are Parliament and the Government, both which Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is responsible for, Ministry of Local Government and Provincial Councils, with Minister Faiza Mustafa as its subject minister, Ministry of Megapolis and Western Development, with Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka as the subject minister, Chief Minister of the Western Province Isura Devapriya. Since the Colombo Municipal Council is functioning without a mayor, its duties are being overlooked by Urban Commissioner V.A.K. Anura.
There are a number of people who are responsible for the current garbage crisis in this country. The Prime Minister is directly responsible for this grave issue. The solid waste management policies developed in 2007 are yet to be implemented. What they are trying to do is dump garbage in wetlands or lands outside Colombo. There is no effort to minimize garbage, manage it or recycle it.
The Ministry of Health launched a national program today to provide HPV or human papillomavirus vaccines to girls over the age of 10 years.
The Ministry of Health plans on including the HPV vaccine into the national vaccination program in order to build up immunity to certain viruses from a young age. Girls who are 10 years or older will receive the vaccine. This particular vaccine is also administered to girls in the United Kingdom who are 12 years or older. There are two main methods in treating cervical cancer. One is the early diagnosis of cervical cancer and subsequent treatment, while the second to it is to prevent HPV contraction through vaccination. According to the Ministry of Health, since 1996, women over the age of 35 have been given the opportunity to conduct a Pap test used to diagnose cervical cancer through hospital clinics. The event to officially launch the HPV vaccine in Sri Lanka was held today at the BMICH. This is a historic moment of our country. Around 850 to 1,000 patients are diagnosed with cervical cancer annually. Don't worry about funding for such projects because this government does not hold back when it comes to health and education. That was a promise we gave on the 8th of January. If you can provide this vaccine to all the women in the country, I will speak with the Minister of Finance and make it happen.
An event to create awareness on voter rights was held in Batiklo today under the auspices of Chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya.
The people are frustrated because the election has not been held yet. They are even blaming the Elections Commission. The Elections Commission cannot do anything. Although we are vested with the responsibility of conducting the election, the Parliament should create the necessary legislation. In cricketing terms, the pitch is prepared and the players are ready to play the match. But the ICC should reveal the rules of the match, like how many players should be in the 30-yard circle and when the power play should be enforced. Likewise, if Parliament does not create the legislation, we cannot hold the election. The bill to make amendments to conduct the local government election has been tabled in Parliament. After tomorrow, the party leaders can get together, hold discussions and pass the legislation. The Gazette issued on the 30th of June says their election should be held by the 1st of October. We have heard the Minister of Local Government and Provincial Councils saying that once the bill is passed, we could conduct the election. You can appoint good leaders through an election. That is the only way to develop the country. If the country is developed, then people don't need to travel to Australia by boat.
In your developing story tonight, the Government Medical Officers Association, or the GMOA, states that it will commence an indefinite strike action from the 5th of this month.
The Government Medical Officers Association engaged in a strike action over the past few days. The GMOA held discussions with His Excellency the President on the 24th of last month following the strike. Possible solutions for the Saitam issue were explored at the meeting and the GMOA decided the island-wide strike action. However, the country knows today how one or two ministers acted in a disgusting manner to transform the Saitam issue into a crisis once again. Therefore, the GMOA and its branches have decided to recommence continuous strike action from the 5th of July. Decisions relating to the process of this strike action has been taken by the Executive Committee.
A specialist physician and a technical officer attached to the Kuliyapitiya General Hospital have been arrested by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption for obtaining a bribe of 75,000 rupees.
To the Director General of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery and corruption, President's Counsel Sarat Jayamana, the arrested technical officer, also works at a private hospital. The specialist physician had solicited the bribe of 75,000 rupees from an owner of a private laboratory in Kuliyapitiya in order to approve a number of lab tests. The specialist physician and the technical officer were arrested while obtaining the sum of money this morning. According to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, information has come to light that the specialist physician had, on several prior occasions, rejected reports obtained by parents from the private laboratory.
A meeting was held between the United Students Front and Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla at the Maganaguma head office in Battaramulla today. The students spoke to the media following the meeting with the minister.
We held discussions with the minister on how private universities could be made accessible for all students, especially students from poor backgrounds. How can these universities be standardized in order to make it affordable to all? We discussed these matters and we made recommendations. We hope to hold talks with the Prime Minister in this regard soon. We received a positive response and we believe that it will be possible to move ahead.
What is the reason for our students to remain in university while their peers who travel overseas obtain their degree and engage in postgraduate studies? Doesn't such boycotts and protests delay being able to obtain a medical degree? While this statement may be controversial to some, students will understand the truth in it in years to come. Our hope is that the interests of our young people are placed before all else by all parties concerned. Students should question their so-called leaders as to how long they have been at universities as undergraduates. This not only is a reflection of their intelligence, but also takes away an opportunity for another student. Students should also remember that a criminal record will have devastating implications for their future, including travel overseas. We ask students to open their eyes.
It was Minister S.P. Dissanayake who acted as the intermediary to resolve the crisis surrounding Saitam during the previous government when he served as Minister of Higher Education. Thereby, we inquired from Lakshman Kiriyalla, the current Minister of Higher Education, regarding his response to the issues that have cropped up.
No matter what policy decision the government takes regarding Saitam, there doesn't seem to be an end to the issue, is there?
Saitam was established during the previous administration of Mahinda Rajapaksa. He even granted a sum of 600 million rupees for this project. But no one objected to it when it was established. The doctors and university lecturers who are protesting today did not do so back then. 5 years after its inception, that the first batch of university students who have passed their examinations are protesting over this institute. So this isn't an issue concerning Saitam. This is merely a political program which the joint opposition and another political henchman are involved in. This program has been launched to destabilize the government, but they will not be able to do that. We will eventually triumph.
Since the government changed, this has now become your problem or the problem of this government?
No, this is not a national problem. It is the media which has made this a national problem. How can it be a national problem?
Well, it comes down to a national problem at a certain point. 6,200 students of 8 state medical faculties have not taken part in academic activities since the 31st of January. This causes a delay in the creation of new doctors.
So that is the medical students' loss, no one else's. All of this is because they obtained free education from the state. They wouldn't strike if they had to pay for it.
But Minister, it is the loss of the entire population of the country, isn't it? When annual qualification of 1,000 doctors is delayed.
There will be no such delay.
So you are saying that there will be no loss to the country, even if all 8 medical faculties were closed down?
I cannot give you the answers you want. Do not call me again either.
Minister, I have one last question.
The Jathika Hello Rumea convening a media briefing at its party headquarters today were highly critical of the previous administration over the South Asian Institute of Technology and Medicine, or SITEM.
This issue cannot be resolved on the street nor a hospital. It has to be resolved through clear and meaningful dialogue between the Medical Council and the government. It was clear to us that SITEM was something planted by Mahinda Rajapaksa for his own benefit. He started this while having an understanding of the opposition this institute will raise, and then to establish 3 more medical faculties, 1 each for his brothers Basil and Gotabaya, and 1 for his son Namal. Gotabaya Rajapaksa established the military hospital at the location of the central hospital, which was owned by Dr. Neville Fernando, where a massive compensation was paid. That military hospital is being demolished only now, so there was no urgency to remove that hospital from there. Later, a large sum of money was spent to expand this military hospital in Narayampeta. Neville Fernando sold the central hospital to a different project. In addition to all of this, a 600 million rupee loan was obtained from the Bank of Ceylon. This was how the political power was given.
The Socialist Alliance convened a media briefing today.
There is an issue regarding SITEM, and this issue has intensified over a period of 3 months. Students who are qualified to obtain a degree have no opportunities to do so in state universities. Therefore, it is best to operate private education institutions under government control. However, we are of the opinion that medical studies should be conducted by state institutions.
Now, a dedicated team from the Ministry of Development Strategies is to act as a secretariat in relation to investment climate reforms. This was announced at the launch of the Roadmap for Investment Climate Reforms at Temple Trees in Colombo today.
Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade, Malik Samaravikrama, said this team will take responsibility and lead coordination to the overall reform efforts on a day-to-day basis. Accordingly, technical task forces have been established to develop and implement a detailed action plan. The task forces are responsible for the following areas: starting a business, dealing with construction permits, registration of property, getting credit, protecting minority investors, trading across borders, enforcing contracts, and resolving insolvency. As the new initiative begins, others are being cancelled or delayed. The Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat, which comprises of a subcommittee and a Rapid Response Committee, saw its tenure come to an end on Friday, the 30th of June. As of May, many files investigated by the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division are languishing with no further action being taken as the police await the instructions of the Attorney General. Activists allege that political influence was being exerted to delay instructions from the Attorney General. It is also important to mention that there is a delay in issuing the Gazette on the amended Audit Bill. In addition, the much-hyped and long-awaited Inland Revenue Act, a joint product of the International Monetary Fund and local authorities, gazetted by the government last Monday, is triggering confusion among taxpayers and government tax administrators.
The State Minister of International Trade, speaking at the same event, made a comment on reaching an agreement with China in relation to the Hambantota port.
We are on the verge of signing this agreement with China. We had little bit of difficulties with separate ministries, probably agencies also. So now we have sorted out most of it. So in the near future we'll be signing it. It's a matter of time now. The problem is they say that they have given us a $900 million loan. And our books shows about 1.4 billion that we have taken from the Chinese. But they say only they have given us 900. So about $500 million is missing. Where is that money? That is our question also. So you must ask the previous government, and I hope there will be answers for those things. And those are the difficulties that we face, because when we want to value Hambantota port at 1.4 billion, they say it's lower than that. But they have agreed now to come up to that, because Chinese government also have to answer these things. So they have agreed. So we don't want to go back and keep on talking about this. We want this process to go forward now. So they have agreed to value this at 1.4 billion, and we might probably, it depends on how much we are going to take, we are going to give them. They have offered us 40%, and for them to take control of 60%. So that is, I think, a favorable question for Sri Lanka. Initially it's 80-20, so if at the third phase, it depends on how much the government is willing to spend.
Isn't it more prudent for the nation to retain ownership of the port and allow foreign investment into terminal operations, just like it is at the Colombo port?
The Prime Minister went on to say that Sri Lanka must have a new benchmark to achieve competitiveness in the manufacturing sector.
We have to go in one direction, but it is not in any way to have a domestic market sector here and an export sector. If you are looking at the problems we face, the need to service our debts, to need to repay our debt, then we want everyone to become exporters. For this purpose, we are giving incentives forward, and the Ministry of Development Strategy and Finance will come up with a package of trade adjustment assistance. After all, the domestic market manufacturers can go in for new machinery for which incentives are given, and secondly, will help them through a trade assistance package. We must climb back from the position we occupy now to the 70th position. We are not going to stop there. We have to look at Thailand and Malaysia as our benchmark and then improve. To say we are the best in South Asia, well, that doesn't mean that we are really effective or efficient. It only means among the inefficient, you are the least inefficient.
After the Treasury bond auction on the 27th of February 2015, several primary dealers incurred monumental losses. This was revealed during the proceedings of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry today. Newsfirst.lk reports.
Indira Mendes, head of Treasuries at Capital Alliance Limited, testified that his organisation never bids through another primary dealer, and other primary dealers have never bid through them. The profits of Capital Alliance Limited for the year ending on 31st March 2015 was 532 million, which dropped to 57 million for the year ending on the 31st of March 2016. Capital Alliance Limited placed a dummy bid for the controversial auction as they had no interest in investing in a bond beyond 15 years in maturity. There was a little bit of tension inside the Presidential Commission of Inquiry today when the attorney representing former Governor Arjuna Mahendran raised a question from the witness on the cash flow requirement for respective months. And at this moment, representing the state, Dapula de Oliveira stood up and opposed the line of questioning, citing that this line of questioning is not fair by the witness. However, at this time, the attorney for Arjuna Mahendran said if the state wishes to speak on evidence, the state must get into the witness box. Dapula de Oliveira responded that he would get into the box, but first, the attorney for Arjuna Mahendran, Chanaka De Silva, must get into the witness box. The tensions went on for a few minutes, and at this moment, Justice Prasanna Jayawardena informed both parties that their behavior is ridiculous and that they need to get on with their work. Steffi Fernando, who served in the front office of the Public Debt Department, noted that it was in fact very strange for the Public Debt Department to be told to accept all bids on the day of the controversial auction. The Public Debt Department originally intended to sell 30-year bonds of 1 billion rupees at the primary auction held on February 27, 2015. The PDD received just over 20 billion rupees in bids and were instructed by then Governor Arjuna Mahendran to accept all bids. However, after being advised about the consequences, Mahendran had instructed the PDD to accept 10.058 billion rupees from the auction. The PDD recommendation was to accept 2.6 billion rupees in bids on that day. She testified that the Employees Provident Fund never places dummy bids, though some primary dealers do so, in order to avoid their bids from being accepted.
The Joint Trade Union of the Inland Revenue Department engaged in a demonstration today condemning the proposed new Inland Revenue Bill.
The proposed bill, which the trade unions claim has been developed by the International Monetary Fund, has been gazetted by the government. The Joint Trade Union of the Inland Revenue Department charges that the public will be subject to heavy taxation due to the new bill.
The taxpayers of this country, the Inland Revenue Department, Chambers of Commerce, banking professionals are not aware of the proper contents of this tax bill. This is being done secretively. If this bill is not withdrawn, we will stage massive protests together with the public.
Views were also expressed in this regard during a media briefing organized by the Socialist Alliance.
What are they trying to do? By bringing in a new Inland Revenue Bill, they are trying to tax everything and hand over the collection of taxes to a private institution. We will not allow this to take place. We are against it. There were plans to privatize the excise department. We fought against it and it was stopped temporarily. It seems like this government has not been able to do anything.
A media briefing was convened by the Mahasangha of Sabaragamuwa today.
If anyone is preparing to meddle in the affairs of the Mahasangha, the viharas or the property of temples, we vehemently condemn it. We reiterate that such actions will not be tolerated. The Mahasangha of Sabaragamuwa urges for these matters to be brought to the attention of the President and the government.
Goal, a movie produced by Maharaja Entertainment, was launched today. The launch was held at the auditorium of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited in Colombo.
Directed by Rohan Pereira, Goal stars Jailat Manoratna, Chandani Seneviratna, Kaushalya Fernando, Jayani Sena Naika, Naina Hettiarachi, Lakshman Mendis and a host of popular artists.
Over the years, the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited has associated with people who have talent, who have desire to excel. And in the process, we have associated ourselves with those who have already reached high levels of excellence, and we have associated with ourselves with those who are seeking to reach excellence. And in the process, together, jointly with the people with whom we held our hands, we built great successes, great success stories.
When we read the script of the movie Goal, we realized that this movie will take children's movies to the next level. We could picture a movie of international standard when reading the script, so we were very happy. The team involved in this movie consists of eminent artists and a production crew. Therefore, we were happy to produce this movie. You too will be able to enjoy the movie Goal at theatres near you very soon.
5 suspects have been arrested in connection to the theft of 7.8 million rupees from the Ragama area. According to the police, an army deserter is amongst the arrested suspects.
Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara noted that they have been able to recover part of the stolen money. The arrested suspects are residents of Mabola, Thanamalvila, Rabunkana, Ragama and Ranna. Police also took into custody 2 T-56 firearms, 67 rounds of live ammunition, 2 magazines, 8 mobile phones, 2 false number plates and a car. Investigations have revealed that the vehicle used by the suspects had been obtained on rent. The theft in question took place on the 26th of last month in the Ragama Police Division. The suspects who had arrived in a car had blocked the path of a van transporting money from one branch of a private company to another and had stolen the money. The suspects had also punctured the wheels of the van by shooting at them.
As soon as this incident was reported, we launched an investigation. The Ragama police deployed a team for investigations. The Palliuda Crimes Unit also launched another investigation, while investigations were also launched by the Colombo North Crimes Investigation Unit. By this morning, we were able to nab 5 suspects and 2 T56 firearms with their serial numbers filed off. We will be conducting further investigations with the help of the government analyst.
Teams that investigated the floating armory discovered in Gaul also reported that they came across firearms on board the vessel with their serial number. Such weapons being used to conduct criminal activities.
There are allegations that weapons were sold through this armory for foreign criminals. There are also complaints that foreign criminals receive weapons training here, in a country where you and I can't take a knife. 500 automatic rifles in their custody.
Or the DNA of the firearm is the serial number. Because if you really analyze the serial number, you can say which country this firearm was manufactured, which province, and how did it come to Sri Lanka, who exported it. All the information is contained in the firearm. Now I must tell you that even an expert on firearms find it very, very difficult to find out where the serial number is, because they don't want anyone to deface, damage the serial number. Now, if these guns do not have the serial number, it poses a very grave threat to national security. The firearms may be then imported to Sri Lanka by the Sri Lankan government and disposed by certain section of unholy persons who are in charge of the firearms. Now, if this is true, this is a massive operation, massive investigation to find out how many firearms have been dispossessed, have been sold to various gangs in the underworld.
The circulation or smuggling of these firearms should be halted. We should understand how such acts take place. A firearm can be taken apart into small pieces and reassembled at the necessary location. Each round of ammunition should be accounted for. Such ammunition should not enter society. There should be supervisors who supervise this. Such acts can be stopped if steps like this are taken.
Well, that's all the news for tonight. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jithendri Kunasena.
And I'm Shensu. Take care and good night.